Hi, I'm Jeff Brady. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Better Choices Equals Better Lives broadcast. Today's How To Talk is on the subject, how to make great first impressions. But before we begin, I want you to smile. I'd like to tell you a quick joke. You know, you've probably all seen on the highways and roads, roadkill as we call it. You see rabbits, you see squirrels, you see deer. But have you ever noticed that you never see a crow? Now, why is that? It's because all of their buddies, all their crow friends are up on the wire saying, caw, caw, caw. The warning keeps them from being killed. Anyways, I hope you're smiling now. I want to speak to you on this thing of first impressions. It's so important. Number one, first step is this: to make a great first impression, it starts with a handshake. And I've tried to teach people through the years, my children, we have 9 children, my wife and I've taught them to put your hand out, look the person right in the eye, and grab that hand firmly and pump it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Smiling at the person, looking at the person, putting it, not trying to drop the person to their knees with a vice grip, but not soft and mushy like some dead fish. That first impression is very important with the handshake. Years ago, one of our 6 daughters was applying for an ROTC scholarship at a university. And she went through the big interview, started with the handshake, all the questioning. There's the cadre around her asking questions. There's a professor of military science. And he said at the end, he says, "You've got the scholarship if you want." And she was thrilled. And she said, "Really?" And he says, "What persuaded me to give you the scholarship wasn't all your answers. It was your confident handshake when you started out. It was the firmness. It was what you were saying through your hands." So first impression, your handshake. Second, your eyes. Friends, your eyes. Follow people with your eyes. Look them in the eyes. Some people are always looking around at the walls, always looking at the ceiling. I think we've all had teachers, professors that way, and we thought, come on, look right here. Matter of fact, when I'm disciplining through the years, I've had to spank a child or 2, as you can imagine, with 9 kids. And I'd always say, all right, look me in the eye now. Because a child, when someone's guilty, they don't want to look you in the eye. There's just something. Friends, if you want to make a good first impression, meet people eye to eye. Look them in the eye. Keep looking at them. Don't drift off and look around. Don't be looking down, playing with your phones or whatever it might be. Eye contact is so important. Number 3 is your dress. It's important that you dress appropriate for the circumstance. If I'm going in for a business appointment, I'm going to wear a business suit. If I'm going in for an athletic endeavor, I'm not going to wear church clothes or even work clothes. I'm going to wear athletic clothing. Your clothing is so important. You show the worth of a person by how you dress. And I remember years ago, there was a person who, my father was a pilot, and we would fly out from Rhode Island to California to see our father every summer. And my father always says, make sure you guys wear shirts and ties, because we were D2 space available passengers. How many times through those years a stewardess would say, "Listen, you guys look so nice, look like little gentlemen, little ladies. Come on up. You can sit in the first class section of the airplane. We have room there. We don't have room in coach." And you know what? Our dress opened up opportunities. So your handshake, your eyes, and your dress. I remember when my mother passed away in January of 2018. And I remember we had forgotten when we went to make funeral arrangements to bring our checkbook with us. And we made all the arrangements. The funeral was going to be 3 days away. And I said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I know we could pay for this right now, cash and with a check, but we forgot it. There's ice out there." And she says, "No problem. I trust you." I said, "You've probably done a lot of funerals. You've probably been taken advantage of." And I said, "You trust me?" She says, "Yes, because I can look in your eyes and see truth." She says, "You're looking me in the eyes. If someone's looking off and all that wandering around, can't trust them. Shifty eyes, can't trust." She said, "I've been at this. I've done over 1,700 funerals. I've only been burned by those who have the shifty eyes." And I said, "Okay, all right." 4th thing about how to make a good impression: your handshake, your eyes, your dress, your smile. Folks, smile. There's 3 ways we smile. We smile because we're happy. We smile because we're obedient. God even tells us, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. But then there's that smile that we kind of have to work up when we don't feel well. Maybe we don't feel good waking up in the morning. Maybe things have gone hard that day and we just think, just want to frown, I just want to kind of gripe through my face. But no, you smile a ministry smile. You're smiling to lift somebody else's feelings, lift somebody else's heart and encouragement. So that obedient smile, the ministry smile, the happy smile, so important. A smile goes a mile away. And next is your posture. Friends, there's something about standing upright, throwing the shoulders back, not cocky like, come on, I'm taking you on to fight, but not either like you're drooped over, like you're defeated and discouraged. No, stand up straight and with good posture, with good face forward and chin up, shoulders back, and it makes an impression. You carry yourself that way. I think many of us can pick out even military personnel because of the way they carry themselves, because of their head up, shoulders back, because of their just the way they square themselves around instead of, real soggy, walking that way, baggy and all that. So your posture is very important. Your punctuality. There's just no excuse for being late. I worked for a man when I was an assistant pastor. He had a motto. He said, if you're 15 minutes, you're late unless you're 15 minutes early. What he was saying is this: you want to be early, always early. I remember years ago I pastored a man. He was our song leader. He said, I would rather be 2 hours early than 5 minutes late. And all the years of his work, he was only late one time, and there was major flooding, and he had to go a long ways around because it was in him to be punctual. Friends, punctuality shows respect to other people's time. It's very important that we really respect that. Show punctuality. All right, next is your persistence. I remember when I went to college, I went a few months early to college because I thought I've got to get a job. I only have enough money to get in the door and pay a month of tuition, room and board. And so I went there and I applied and applied and applied. Even at United Parcel Service, I finally got hired up near Chicago. When I went in, the lady had all my applications all over her desk. She said, why in the world did you apply 3 times with all this paperwork? And she said, why'd you do that? I said, because I wanted you to know that I need this job. She says, if you've got clean urine, sir, you've got the job. You're showing me you really want to work here. 5 years later, 2 college degrees, a bachelor's and a master's degree. Even found a wife in college and helped her with that job, put in her, and she got her degree also because of persistence. Persistence wins the day, all right? I remember reading a fantastic book called Love Does by a guy named Goff. And he said this: he wanted to go to law school. He wasn't accepted. His grades weren't the best. So he went to that law school. He sat outside of the dean of law of that and just waited there. And he walked by him every day. And he says, what do you want? He says, I want to go to law school here. You have the power to make it happen. And the guy says, oh, I'm sorry. You might as well just go home. And he wouldn't go. He came back every day. Even when the school semester began, he stayed there all through the day just waiting, to the point where his persistence paid off, where the law professor, dean of students, whatever, he said one day, he says, go down and buy the books, you're in. Why? Persistence. Your handshake, your eyes, your dress, your smile, your posture, your punctuality, your persistence. Friends, never forget, you want to make a good impression? Be grateful. Thank you for the time. I appreciate you listening to this broadcast today. I appreciate these who've helped make this broadcast with me. I appreciate showing gratitude. When gratitude dies on the altar of a man's heart, that man is well nigh hopeless, said Bob Jones Sr. So be grateful. That just makes all the impression of a good impression. I'm going to be real frank. Next step is your smell. It's important that we fellas carry cologne, wear cologne. We don't want to overpower a room, but at the same time, you don't want to walk in with halitosis of your breath, You don't want to walk in certainly with body odor or things like that. You want to smell good. If you're a lady, you want to smell nice. And so, you can tell when someone takes the time to groom and prepare and they smell good. So that's very important. Next is your enthusiasm. That's point number 10. I've got 12. Enthusiasm. Oh, my friends, optimism. That excitement that you bring to a job, to a situation, that makes or breaks the deal. And I encourage you, you want to make a good impression, be enthusiastic. I'm a pastor, and theos means God, and enthusiasm means in God. It means because you have God, He makes you motivated, challenged, and encouraged. So bring your enthusiasm to whatever the circumstance. Number 11 is preparation. There's no excuse for not being prepared. Being prepared to know what you're dealing with if you're going for a job. Knowing what the job is, knowing what is expected, required. Doing your homework. That's another video presentation we've made about being prepared and doing your homework. So make sure that you're prepared. And then lastly is politeness. You can't go wrong being polite. I was brought up as a military brat. My mother and father are both Air Force. They're both in heaven, all right? But they both brought us all, 6 of us children, up saying, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Politeness. I'm talking about where you hold the door, where you hold the elevator, where you do things that are polite and cordial, where you're just a gentleman or a gentle lady. So, my friend, first impression, how do you get it? By a good, strong handshake. Why? How? With your eyes, good eye contact, proper dress for the circumstance, with a radiant smile, with good posture and firm persistence, and of course, punctuality. Being on time or being early shows honor to the person that you're going to meet with. Gratitude, being grateful in all things, and of course your smell, how you appear that way and how you smell. If you got everything else and you just have body odor, it's going to negate so many good things. Bringing enthusiasm to it, being prepared, and of course your politeness. These are things that make great impressions. These are better choices for better, which equals better lives. I'm Jeff Brady. I thank you for your time today. Remember, be good to everyone because everyone's having a tough time. God bless you.